Act 2. Fade in on same scene, no time lapse. Number 8 stands tensely watching as the jurors write on their ballots. He stays perfectly still as one by one they fold the ballots and pass them along to the foreman. The foreman takes them, rifles through the folded ballots, counts 11, and now begins to open them. He reads each one out loud and lays it aside. They watch him quietly, and all we hear is his voice and the sound of number 2 sucking on a cough drop. Guilty, 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 not guilty, guilty. How do you like that? Who was it? I think we ought to have a right to know. Excuse me, this was a secret ballot. We agreed on this point, no? If the gentleman wants to remain secret, what do you mean? There are no secrets in here. I know who it was. What's the matter with you? You come in here and you vote guilty, and then this slick preacher starts to tear your heart out with stories about a poor little kid who just couldn't help becoming a murderer. So you change your vote. If that isn't the most sickening, now hold it. Hold it? We're trying to put a guilty man into the chair where he belongs, and all of a sudden we're paying attention to fairy tales? Now just a minute. Please, I would like to say something here. I have always thought that a man was entitled to have unpopular opinions in this country. This is the reason I came here. I wanted to have the right to disagree. In my own country, I am ashamed to say, what do we have to listen to now? The whole history of your country? Yeah, let's stick to the subject. I want to ask what made you change your vote. There's nothing for him to tell you. He didn't change his vote. I did. Maybe you'd like to know why. No, we wouldn't like to know why. The man wants to talk. Thank you. This gentleman chose to stand alone against us. That's his right. It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone, even if you believe in something very strongly. He left the verdict up to us. He gambled for support, and I gave it to him. I want to hear more. The vote is 10-2. That's fine. If the speech is over, let's go on. Foreman gets up, goes to the door, knocks, hands the guard a tag switch knife, and sits down again. Look, buddy, I was a little excited. Well, you know how it is. I didn't mean to get nasty. Nothing personal. Look, supposing you answer me this. If the kid didn't kill him, who did?
As far as I know, we're supposed to decide whether or not the boy on trial is guilty. We're not concerned with anyone else's motives here.
Guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. This is an important thing to remember. Everyone's a lawyer. Supposing you explain what your reasonable doubts are. This is not easy. So far, it's only a feeling I have. A feeling. Perhaps you don't understand. A feeling? What are we going to do? Spend the night talking about our feelings? What about the facts? You said a mouthful. Look, the old man heard the killer yell, I'm going to kill you. A second later, he heard the father's body falling, and he saw the boy running out of the house 15 seconds after that. That's right. And let's not forget the woman across the street. She looked into the open window and saw the boy stab his father. She saw it. Now, if that's not enough for you...
It's not enough for me.
How do you like him? It's like talking into a dead phone. The woman saw the killing through the windows of a moving elevated train. The train had 5 cars, and she saw it through the windows of the last 2. She remembers the most insignificant details. Cut to close shot of number 12 who doodles a picture of an L train on a scrap of paper. Well, what have you got to say about that?
I don't know. It doesn't sound right to me.
Well, supposing you think about it. Lend me your pencil. Number 12 gives it to him. He draws a tic-tac-toe square on the same sheet of paper on which number 12 has drawn the train. He fills in an X, hands the pencil to number 12. Your turn. We might as well pass the time. Number 12 takes the pencil. Number 8 stands up and snatches the paper away. Number 3 leaps up. Wait a minute.
This isn't a game.
Who do you think you are? All right, let's take it easy. I've got a good mind to walk around this table and belt him one. Now, please, I don't want any fights in here. Did you see him? The nerve. The absolute nerve. All right, forget about it. Don't mean anything. How about sitting down? This isn't a game. Who does he think he is? He lets them sit him down. Number 8 remains standing, holding the scrap of paper. He looks at it closely now and seems to be suddenly interested in it. Then he throws it back toward number 3. It lands in the center of the table. Number 3 is angered again at this, but number 4 puts his hand on his arm. Number 8 speaks now, and his voice is more intense.
Take a look at that sketch. How long does it take an elevated train going up at top speed to pass a given point?
What has that got to do with anything?
How long? Guess.
I wouldn't have the slightest idea.
What do you think?
About 10 or 12 seconds, maybe.
I'd say that was a fair guess. Anyone else?
I would think about 10 seconds, perhaps. About 10 seconds. All right, say 10 seconds. What are you getting at?
This. An L train passes a given point in the 10 seconds. That point is the window of the room in which killing took place. You can almost reach out of the window of that room and touch the L, right? All right. Now let me ask you this. Did anyone here ever live right next to the L tracks? I have. When your window is open and the train goes by, the noise is almost unbearable. You can't hear yourself think.
Okay, you can't hear yourself think. Will you get to the point?
The old man heard the boy say, "I'm going to kill you." And 1 second later, he heard a body fall. 1 second. That's the testimony, right?
Right.
The woman across the street looked through the window of the last two cars of the L and saw a body fall, right? The last two cars.
What are you giving us here?
An L takes 10 seconds to pass a given point, or 2 seconds per car. That L has been going by the old man's window for at least 6 seconds, and maybe more, before the body fell. According to the woman, the old man would have had to hear the boy say, "I'm going to kill you," while the front of the L was roaring past his nose. It's not possible that he could have heard it.
What do you mean? Sure, he could have heard it.
Could he?
He said the boy yelled it out. That's enough for me. I don't think he could have heard it. Maybe he didn't hear it. I mean, with the L noise. What are you people talking about? Are you calling the old man a liar? Well, it stands to reason. You're crazy. Why would he lie? What's he got to gain? Attention, maybe. You keep coming up with these bright sayings. Why don't you send one into a newspaper? They pay $2.
Why might the old man have lied? You have a right to be heard.
It's just that I looked at him for a very long time. The seam of his jacket was split under the arm. Did you notice that? He was a very old man with a torn jacket, and he carried 2 canes. I think I know him better than anyone here. This is a quiet, frightened, insignificant man who has been nothing all his life, who has never had any recognition. His name in the newspapers. Nobody knows him after 75 years. That's a very sad thing. A man like this needs to be recognized, to be questioned and listened to and quoted just once. This is very important. And you're trying to tell us he lied about a thing like this just so he could be important? No, he wouldn't really lie. But perhaps he'd make himself believe that he heard those words and recognized the boy's face. Well, that's the most fantastic story I've ever heard. How can you make up a thing like that? What do you know about it? I speak from experience. All right. Is there anything else? Anybody want a cough drop? Come on, let's get on with it.
I'll take one. Oh, thanks. Now, there's something else I'd like to point out here. I think we proved that the old man couldn't have heard the boy say, "I'm going to kill you." But supposing he really did hear it. This phrase, how many times has each of you used it? Probably hundreds. If you do that once more, Junior, I'm going to murder you. Come on, Rocky, kill him. We say it every day. This doesn't mean that we're going to kill someone.
Wait a minute. The phrase was, "I'm going to kill you," and the kid screamed it out at the top of his lungs. Don't try and tell me he didn't mean it. Anybody says a thing like that the way he said it, they mean it. And how they mean it.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you really think the boy would shout out a thing like that so the whole neighborhood would hear it? I don't think so. He's much too bright for that.
Bright. He's a common ignorant slob. He don't even speak good English. He doesn't even speak good English. Number 10 stares angrily at number 11, and there is a silence for a moment. Then number 5 looks around the table nervously. I'd like to change my vote to not guilty. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. The vote is 9-3 in favor of guilty. Well, if that isn't the end, What are you basing it on? Stories this guy made up? He ought to write for Amazing Detective Monthly. He'd make a fortune. Listen, the kid had a lawyer, didn't he? Why didn't his lawyer bring up all these points? Lawyers can't think of everything. Oh, brother, you sit in here and pull stories out of thin air. Now we're supposed to believe that the old man didn't get up out of bed, run to the door, and see the kid beat her downstairs 15 seconds after the killing? He's only saying he did to be important. Did the old man say he ran to the door? Ran, walked, what's the difference? He got there. I don't remember what he said, but I don't see how he could run. He said he went from his bedroom to the front door. That's enough, isn't it?
Where was his bedroom again?
Down the hall somewhere. I thought you remembered everything. Don't you remember that?
No, Mr. Foreman. I'd like to take a look at the diagram of the apartment.
Why don't we have them run the trial over just so you can get everything straight?
Mr. Foreman.
I heard you. The foreman gets up, goes to the door during the following dialogue. He knocks on the door, guard opens it, he whispers to the guard nods and closes the door. All right, what's this for? How come you're the only one in the room who wants to see exhibits all the time? I want to see this one too, and I want to stop wasting time. If we're going to start wading through all that nonsense about where the body was found...
We're not. We're going to find out how a man who's had 2 strokes in the past 3 years and who walks with a pair of canes could get to his front door in 15 seconds.
He said 20 seconds. He said 15. How does he know how long 15 seconds is? You can't judge that kind of a thing. He said 15. He was very positive about it. He's an old man. You saw him. Half the time he was confused. How could he be positive about anything? Number 3 looks around sheepishly, unable to cover up his blunder. The door opens and the guard walks in, carrying a large pen and ink diagram of the apartment. It is a railroad flat. A bedroom faces the L tracks. Behind it is a series of rooms off a long hall. In the front bedroom is a diagram of the spot where the body was found. At the back of the apartment, we see the entrance into the apartment hall from the building hall. We see a flight of stairs in the building hall. The diagram is clearly labeled, and included in the information on it are the dimensions of the various rooms. The guard gives the diagram to the foreman. This what you wanted? That's right. Thank you.
May I?
The foreman nods. Number 8 takes the diagram and sets it up on a chair so that all can see it. Number 8 looks it over. Several of the jurors get up to see it better. Number 3, 10, and 7, however, barely bother to look at it. Do me a favor. Wake me up when this is over.
All right. This is the apartment in which the killing took place. The old man's apartment is directly beneath it and exactly the same. Here are the L tracks, the bedroom, another bedroom, living room, bathroom, kitchen, and this is the hall. Here's the front door to the apartment, and here are the steps. Now, the old man was in bed in this room. He says he got up, went out into the hall, down the hall, to the front door, opened it, and looked out just in time to see the boy racing down the stairs. Am I right?
That's the story.
15 seconds after he heard the body fall.
Correct.
His bed was at the window. It's 12 feet from his bed to the bedroom door. The length of the hall is 43 feet, 6 inches. He had to get up out of bed, get his canes, walk 12 feet, open the bedroom door, walk 43 feet, and open the front door. All in 15 seconds. Do you think this is possible?
You know it's possible. He can only walk very slowly. They had to help him into the witness chair. You make it sound like a long walk. It's not. Number 8 gets up, goes to the end of the room, and takes 2 chairs. He puts them together to indicate a bed. For an old man who uses canes, it's a long walk. What are you doing?
I want to try this thing. Let's see how long it took him. I'm going to pace off 12 feet, the length of the bedroom.
You're crazy. You can't recreate a thing like that. Perhaps if we could see it. This is an important point. It's a ridiculous waste of time. Let him do it.
Hand me a chair. All right. This is the bedroom door. Now, how far would you say it is from here to the door of this room?
I'd say it was 20 feet. Just about.
20 feet is close enough. All right. From here to the door and back is about 40 feet. It's shorter than the length of the hall. Wouldn't you say that?
A few feet, maybe. Look, this is absolutely insane. What makes you think you can?
Do you mind if I try it? According to you, it'll only take 15 seconds. We can spare that. Who's got to watch with the second hand?
I have.
When you want me to start, stamp your foot. That'll be the body falling. Time me from there. Let's say he keeps his canes right at his beside, right?
Right.
Okay, I'm ready.
They all watch carefully. Number 2 stares at his watch, waiting for the second hand to reach 60. Then, as it does, he stamps his foot loudly. Number 8 begins to get up. Slowly, he swings his legs over the edges of the chair, reaches for imaginary canes, and struggles to his feet. Number 2 stares at the watch. Number 8 walks as a crippled old man would walk, toward the chair, which is serving as the bedroom door. He gets to it and pretends to open up. Speed it up! He walked twice as fast as that. Number 8, not having stopped for this outburst, begins to walk the simulated 40-foot hallway. This is, I think, even more quickly than the old man walked in the courtroom.
If you think I should go faster, I will.
He speeds up his pace slightly. He reaches the door and turns now, heading back, hobbling as an old man would hobble, bent over his imaginary canes. They watch him tensely. He hobbles back to the chair, which also serves as the front door. He stops there and pretends to unlock the door. Then he pretends to push it open.
Stop.
Right.
Oh, what's the time?
15, 20, 30, 31 seconds exactly. 31 seconds.
It's my guess that the old man was trying to get to the door, heard someone racing down the stairs, and assumed that it was the boy.
I think that's possible. Assumed? Now listen to me, you people. I've seen all kinds of dishonesty in my day, but this little display takes the cake. Tell him, will ya? Number 4 sits silently. Number 3 looks at him, and then he strides over to number 8. You come in here with your heart bleeding all over the floor about slum kids and injustice, and you make up these wild stories, and you've got some soft-hearted old ladies listening to you. Well, I'm not. I'm getting real sick of it. What's the matter with you people? This kid is guilty. He's got to burn. We're letting him slip through our fingers here.
Our fingers? Are you his executioner?
I'm one of them.
Perhaps you'd like to pull the switch.
For this kid, you bet I like to pull the switch.
I'm sorry for you.
Don't start with me.
What it must feel like to want to pull the switch.
Shut up.
You're a sadist.
Shut up.
You want to see this boy die because you personally want it, not because of the facts.
Shut up. He lunges at number 8, but is caught by 2 of the jurors and held. He struggles as number 8 watches calmly. Let me go. I'll kill him. I'll kill him.
You don't really mean you'll kill me, do you?
Number 3 stops struggling now and stares at number 8. All the jurors watch in silence as we fade out.